Hey everyone, welcome into the TDR Weekly International Recap presented by Prohibition Partners. I'm your host, Shad Dales. This week we got three countries that are showing just how differently cannabis reform can unfold. Germany is ramping up, Australia is tightening down, and Morocco is cautiously stepping onto the export stage. Not sure how many people follow the Morocco story, but hey, it's the global cannabis landscape, and we want to cover from every angle, every country across the world, because reports show by 2033, the global medical cannabis market will be worth over $83 billion. So that's a number to keep your eye on as this industry explodes across the world. So with that, let's get into our weekly TDR International Weekly Recap presented by Prohibition Partners. All right, let's begin with the Germans. Germany just raised its medical cannabis import quota from 122 tons to 192.5 tons, nearly a 60% jump. The increase came after Germany exceeded its earlier limit by September, forcing regulators to pause new import licenses. Now those licenses are back on. So what's driving it? Patient demand. In Q2 2025 alone, imports grew from 37.5 to 43.3 tons. That's a 15% rise in just 3 months. Much of that demand comes from digital prescriptions where patients can get certified online. But Berlin's health ministry isn't entirely comfortable with that growth. Reports show roughly 80% of private prescriptions were issued via telemedicine, most to men, and often without in-person consultation. So the government is now considering limits on the online prescribing to cool down the market, something that we've been following and talking about for quite some time. Meanwhile, in Australia, it's moving the other way. The International Narcotics Control Board cut its 2025 quota from 101 to 88 tons after repeated over-forecasting. Many license holders requested volumes they never used, effectively blocking others from the market. So that's an eye-opener, and I get it. So starting next year, importers must fulfill at least 75% of their approved quota, or their 2026 allocation will shrink to match actual use. Repeat offenders could even be blacklisted. So lead with your best foot forward and use what you need. So while Germany races to meet demand, Australia's reining things in. Germany risks political blowback while Australia risks choking growth. Both are learning the same lesson here. Cannabis markets can't scale without accountability, and that is indeed the case here. And before we continue, just a quick shout out to our friends at Dutchie, the tech platform powering smarter cannabis retail. If you own or work in a dispensary operation, compliance, or e-commerce, Dutchie helps simplify it all. From online ordering, from point-of-sale systems to payments and analytics, they connect every part of your cannabis business all in one secure platform. To learn more, visit business.dutchie.com. All right, let's get back to this week's international recap. And staying in Germany, not every reform experiment actually is running smoothly. The country's cannabis social clubs, once seen as the cornerstone of its phase 1 legalization, are now facing mounting challenges. Just over a year in, Germany has licensed 343 clubs nationwide. North Rhine-Westphalia, it leads with 96 approvals, while Lower Saxony has the highest density overall. But here's the situation. Enforcement has turned messy. One club in Jena was denied approval because it sat 198 meters, not 200 from a playground. So yeah, those 2 meters, they're paying attention. In Bavaria, another was shut down entirely after losing a legal challenge. That state has approved only 8 clubs in total, compared to nearly 100 in Western Germany. So frustrated organizers say bureaucracy is killing the momentum. The Federal Association of Cannabis Cultivation Associations is now calling for reforms, including realistic distance rules, clear national advertising guidance, and the removal of the 500-member cap. They also want clubs to hire full-time staff and allow safer use methods like vaporizers. Right now, even on-site consumption is banned, forcing people back into private or unregulated spaces, the opposite of what the legalization aimed to achieve. So what direction are we going here? Because really, if those issues aren't addressed soon, Germany's club model could collapse under its own red tape, sending users right back to guess where? The illicit market. And while Europe wrestles with regulation, let's move now to Morocco, where it's quietly taking its first steps into the global medical cannabis trade. Why do I say that? Well, the country just completed its first international export. The product, called Beldia Plus, was developed by Moroccan lab Cannaflex and shipped to a patient in South Africa through the DRA Pharmaceuticals, a GMP-certified manufacturer. According to the country, it's a symbolic milestone proving Moroccan producers can meet pharmaceutical-grade standards. cannabis. But we all know this is still a one-off success, so not any scalable framework is in place yet. Only a handful of Moroccan firms hold active cultivation licenses, and most operate within pilot zones with limited infrastructure. The country does indeed right now lack GMP-certified facilities, clear export pathways, and coordinated oversight, which you can imagine. And there's also a stockpile of unlicensed product from legacy growers, cannabis that can't enter the regulated market but still poses a diversion risk. So really, while Morocco's first export is encouraging, the real work is indeed lying ahead, building compliance, aligning with the EU standards, and developing a reliable domestic processing base. So if you're paying attention to Morocco, there's the latest. So if you wrap up everything this week, we got 3 stories going in 3 different directions, both in Europe and the international level. In Germany, it's scaling up fast, but again, it faces pushback on access and oversight. In the land down under, Australia, it's scaling down to restore order, and in Morocco, it's taking its first cautious steps towards legitimacy. 3 markets, 3 different lessons, but the same challenge everywhere: finding the balance between access, control, and sustainability. So really, for investors and policymakers and industry leaders, that balance will define really the next few years and the next decade. Because like I said, the medical cannabis market globally is going to be estimated over $83 billion by 2033. To give you an idea, in 2024, it's worth $15 billion. So yeah, growth is on the horizon, not just in North America, but abroad as well. So that's it for our latest TDR Traded Black International Weekly Recap presented by Prohibition Partners. Let us know if you've been paying attention to Germany. I know it's a big market for a lot of North American players, but what do you think about the news this week and really what direction it's going? Because in one way, it's growing, in other ways, the social clubs scaling back. Love to get your feedback. Leave your comments below. And as usual, make sure to like, subscribe, and smash on that bell for all notifications to get the latest updates here at TDR. That's it for now. Enjoy your weekend, everybody, and we'll see you all back here next week. In the meantime, take care. And again, thanks for watching. I'm your host, Shad Dales. Take care, everyone.